Dan Larson here at the photo booth with the top 10 action figures, with my top 10 action figures of 2021. Right out of the gate here, I want to address the Alley Viper bat situation. This was a difficult one for me. The top 10 is always hard for me. If you've watched any of my top 10 videos ever, especially the ones during the year where I narrow it down, it's an impossible task. I like action figures too much. There's too much good stuff out there, too many things that I like. And it just makes it really hard to make choices, and I'm really indecisive, and it is what it is. But these figures made it even harder. Every year there are figures that hit so late in the year that it's hard to decide, are they late releases for the year we're in? Are they early releases for the next year that shouldn't necessarily be out, and they should have been counted for the following year? And in this case, personally, I think the Alley Vipers and the Bats should be 2022 figures. I don't know that they were supposed to be released so late in 2021. I sort of put together my own criteria. If any of my 5 different vendor pre-orders were filled before December 31st, 2021, I would have counted them if I had found them in stores, or if the secondary market price had dropped below 40 bucks on like eBay, then I would have counted them. None of those 3 things happened. So as far as I am concerned, these are 2022 action figures and will not be considered for my top 10 of 2021. It's crazy. I don't like having to wait that long for them, to a year from now to be doing, the next video to count them, but it is what it is. So you won't see them in here. At number 10, I'm going to go ahead and cheat right out of the gate as well. We've got the McFarlane Toys Mandarin Spawn and red and gold and blue and silver versions. One was a Walmart exclusive. The blue was the Walmart exclusive version. There is a third version that I did not acquire. Came with a bunch more weapons. I believe it was a GameStop exclusive. I thought I was going to get all 3, but when I saw the price on that thing, I passed on it. Why are these here? These are here because back in the early days of McFarlane, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, the original Mandarin Spawn was one of my favorite figures. Still is, actually. I still have that on my shelf, and I always wanted it to be, just like a lot of McFarlane figures, just a little bit more posable than it was. It was a dazzling, detailed, gorgeous action figure. You just couldn't do anything but have it stand there. So when McFarlane announced that these were going to be coming out, there was absolutely no way that I wasn't going to get them and put them in my collection. Got the blue one first, red and gold came after that. And I love them. I love them. They are flawed. Whether it's the lack of paint on the back or the like so many figures, they have a lot of articulation, but there's not really much you can do with it. And look at these weapons. You can even see this one here just from standing on my shelf. This is bent, and just the weight of the blade itself and this is sort of how I've had it posting on my shelf. You can see that it's bent. I don't know why they picked the soft plastic for these. And that's part of what deterred me from buying the third version of these figures. Different head, different paint details. I think it had a different skirt. But I decided to pass on it. That said, I do love these figures because they are what I like about action figures. They harken back to something that I loved years ago. They're a nice update. I had to do a little bit of modification on this one to get it, actually on both, to get them to pose a little bit better. But I still love the design. I love the bird feet. I love the accents, the sort of Guy King kind of, faces on their bellies. To me, they make me smile. I have fun with them. I like posing them, and I like how they look together on the shelves. And as we go forward, you're going to see that red and gold armor, or gold armor, is going to be a trend here, a motif throughout this top 10. At number 9, you're going to find that cheating is also a motif throughout this top 10 to try to get more action figures into this list. Because like I said, there's just so much good stuff that came out this year. So much stuff that comes out every year that I just love. I fall in love with. I look at it. I take my pictures. It's on my shelf all year. And I just want to see more of that kind of stuff. And I want to encourage those things to exist. And my top 10 specifically is really more about getting a sort of a survey, a sampling of a cross section of all the things that I enjoyed. Is it actually the 10 best figures? No, and I'll explain more about that later. But regardless, here at number 9, this spot is for specifically this Black Panther, which came in the Dungeons & Dragons from Hasbro. It's the Dungeons & Dragons 2-pack. with that guy, Drizzed, I don't know, why do you make this so hard? Drizzed, and this is Guinevere, I don't know how it's pronounced. And I don't care how it's pronounced, because that's not important to me. What I do care about is it's a Marvel Legends, or Black Series, or 6-inch scale, whatever, Panther. And that's what got me really excited. Articulated jaw, articulated paws, articulated tail. And I bought that set because I wanted the Panther, not because I don't even have the guy in the picture. The figure itself didn't really do anything for me. And I didn't need it. I wanted that Panther though. And I want more animals in this scale because that's fun. I know later on in 2022, we're gonna have Spirit Freedom with Spirit. We got an eagle coming. Other kinds of animals for sure. We got the crocodiles coming with Crocmaster. So very happy to see Hasbro going in this direction where we're gonna have other things outside of, you know, people and stuff. So I threw in Ursa Major here as well because it's a big scary bear and I love it. I wish it came with a different head or an articulated jaw, one way or the other. But 2021 was definitely a year where animals, articulated animals came into the 6-inch scale, and we really got to start to see more of that kind of variety in the collection. More of that coming up as well. At number 8 is NECA Toys, Disney's Gargoyles Goliath. What a thing this is. It is gigantic. Even without the wings, it's pretty gigantic and an impressive figure in and of itself. But man, throw those wings on there. I can't even put them all in frame right here the way I've got the camera set up. It's, you know, they have some articulation to them. They can kind of go back and forth. They can swivel a bit. And then Goliath himself has quite a bit of articulation. This is an absolutely gorgeous figure. It's here because this whole line, which a lot of the rest of the figures are going to be hitting later this year in 2022. Unexpected, out of nowhere. I had seen, you know, rumors, people asking, people wondering, theorizing, and I didn't think there was any way this was going to happen. I'm not a huge Gargoyles fan. I don't know if I've seen more than 25% of the episodes. I'm familiar with it. I know a lot about it, but I haven't actually taken the time to watch all the episodes. You know, I knew about it when it was on. The character design is fantastic. I have some of the vintage Gargoyles figures, and to see this realized the way that NECA put it together is really, really fantastic and fascinating. These claws are super sharp. If you're doing anything with this, be really careful. You're going to hurt yourself on those claws. You do need to set up this sort of 3-point stance just to get him to stand up. But an incredible, alternate hands, alternate head. My biggest complaint with this is not even the wings or the tail or the standing or anything like that. It's the inability to do anything with that neck. Oh, and the way the shoulders are sculpted, kind of hard to get them into any other real good poses. They don't really want to rotate too far forward. But just an incredible, impressive, shelf gorgeous figure. I don't know if these wings are going to hold up under the weight, but we already know at this point that we've got the folded wings coming with other figures. So there are going to be a lot of Gargoyles purchases to make in 2022, and I expect to see Gargoyles all over people's top 10s later on in 2022 and early 2023. And that's why this guy's here for me. At number 7 is Four Horsemen Mythic Legions. Arethyr, I think his name is. I'll be honest, I have some trouble with the Mythic Legions names. The characters are absolutely gorgeous, but the names, I just don't retain them to any degree. But it's this guy. It's this heavy metal box art, this heavy metal album cover come to life with his flaming hoofed horse and his giant fire sword. There we go. And his big bat wings, and his flaming head, and his little iron mask, and horns and stuff. It's gorgeous. Just the details here, from the real chains to the flame treatment of the hooves and the translucent blade, these giant skulled shoulder pads and belt buckle, and the articulated wings. It's absolutely gorgeous. I didn't get many Mythic Legions figures this year. This was definitely one. This was a must-have, along with Balius, the other horse, which is just a regular horse, just a regular old brown horse. And then Hadriana, a female warrior with a gorgeous fur and cloth cape. And honestly, I wasn't sure about who I wanted to put in this position, in this spot in the countdown. But I went with Arethyr here. Just for the sheer absurdity and the craziness, the extreme design on display here. It's pointy, it's dynamic, it's incredibly crafted, and just again another piece that just stands out on your shelf, on my shelf anyway. So this is sort of holding the place for you know, I was tempted to put in, you know, Balius and Hedry on it as well. That would have technically put 4 figures here because this is technically 2 as well. And I'm already pushing it with 2 at 3 spots already in this countdown. So this is 10, 9, 8. This is NumberSeven. And NumberSix is Hasbro's Studio Series Hot Rod. Hot Rod. My relationship with Hot Rod goes back to, you know, G1 era and the Transformers movie, and spending way too many years blaming him for the whole death of Optimus Prime stuff and just not wanting to embrace him as a new character. But I've come around on all that stuff. It's not a big deal anymore. In fact, Hot Rod's one of my favorite designs now as a Transformer, and whenever new Hot Rod figures come out, I'm always right there to check it out and see what's what. And this was one which, this is happening more and more with my collection, where a design has come out that's so nice, and I like it and appreciate it so much, and they've finally perfected it, in my opinion, to a degree where I can say, you know what, I don't even know if I need to keep all of those other Hot Rod figures anymore, or at least a lot of the stuff in the middle, you know, like maybe the G1 just because it was the G1, and then, you know, the Classics era, or whatever it was that sort of got me back into Transformers after I'd stepped away for a really long time, and then this one, since it's the, you know, sort of best one, the best modern one. And then, I mean, I got to keep the animated one too, because I really like that design. And then, you know, Combiner Wars is okay, and then there's the Siege version, or whatever the one was where you could turn them into Rodimus Prime. You know, they're all pretty nice. This one is just a different, it feels lightweight and small, but there's so much going on to it, and they get so many of the details just right here. And most importantly, for me, really good car mode and really nicely articulated figure mode, so that you can pretty much pose it and doing whatever I need it to do for my pictures, whether I need it in car or robot mode. Just a fantastic, small, nicely proportioned figure to go along with, you know, Optimus from last year, who I felt like that might be the last Optimus Prime I ever buy. It's really weird to be at a point where, you know, the stuff that's being made is so good that I'm not sure I'm ever going to buy another Hot Rod again. So, I mean, that's top 10 if you ask me. At number 5, this is from I'm going to call them new. They're new to me. A new action figure company called Joy Toy. This guy's name is, again, with the names, everybody. The line here is called, I tell people it's just called Joy Toy because this particular subline is called Battle for the Stars, I believe. I'm not even 100% sure if that's the line that this falls into. If it's Battle for the Stars or something else. I think this guy's name is The Risen Rigo. What is this name? Just call him. Just give him a simple name for me, please. Kind of looks like Cable from the X-Men. He's got interchangeable heads, one helmeted, one unhelmeted. It looks like he has armored arms here, but they're sort of like metallic arms, and you can take this armor piece off, and he's got a sort of half cybernetic torso, this giant sword. He's got his pistol, and then another blaster, and a whole trunk of stuff. And then, of course, these really cool jetpack wings on the back here. This figure is in here because, for me, 2021 was the year of getting really back into 1/18th scale. I thought I was committed to, 1/12 for life, 6-inch scale figures for life, the 7-8 inch of Diamond and McFarlane as well tossed in there, and then a couple others, random things. But I really thought I had moved on from this small scale, except for characters like maybe Boba Fett, the occasional Spider-Man or something, or just a particularly impressive figure. But Joy Toy is pretty strictly 1/18 scale, and I bought quite a few of these this year. I sort of dipped my toe in initially with some figures that had been released in 2020, and then definitely put some pre-orders in for figures that were coming out in 2021. I don't have a lot of them, just sort of maybe about a dozen figures so far. I have they've got some pretty impressive mechs that some of them are 1/18 scale, some of them are 1/25th scale, which would be like, figures this big. I don't think I'm going in for the 1/25th scale stuff, but the 1/18ths, I definitely, and you know what else I like about this line is I don't really care about the mythology, and that goes for a lot of action figures. In fact, that goes for almost every action figure I buy. I really don't care about the mythology. I just care about the figures and the designs that I like. And in this case, I don't mind. There's no part of me that's trying to be a completist with this line. It's like, does it look cool? Is it something I really want to sort of add to my own little headcanon mythology? Yes, then I'll grab it. But everything else, absolutely no regrets missing it or, whatever. There's no part of me that feels like I need to get it all, especially at the price point, because they're really expensive. At number 4 is the Pacific Rim Into the Deep, Into the Dark. I can't remember what the name of the show was. Into the Breach. It was the animated series that was on Netflix that from Pacific Rim. This is SH Figure Arts Robot Spirits, Bandai Robot Spirits. Let's get this right. Bandai Robot Spirits, Pacific Rim, based on the Netflix animated series. Which it's again, mythology aside, I'm not even really concerned about the mythology. I knew the show was coming out. And this figure went up for pre-order. I already have all of the other Robot Spirits Pacific Rim figures, and I love them. I've never even seen the second movie all the way through. It didn't catch me from the trailers, and the bits that I've seen didn't really entice me to go watch the entire film. I really did like the first movie. The first movie is really, really good. It's not perfect, but I did really enjoy it, and I do still really enjoy it. I like watching it from time to time. And but mostly it's just the figures. The NECA Pacific Rim figures didn't really do much for me, but this Robot Spirits line did. They're incredibly articulated. The designs are fantastic. A lot of additional accessories, closed hands, opened hands. He's got this mech comes with the alternate arm, but honestly, show aside, all that other stuff aside, I just like the look of this robot. It's just a cool looking robot. The blue and the yellow, the eagle with the star on the chest. In the show, this is like a trainer robot. Like, it doesn't have a lot of weapons and stuff. In fact, it has no weapons. And it's not supposed to be able to fight or do anything. And so, the two main characters end up in it, and it's like, well, how do we fight the monsters without weapons? So there is an interesting story there, but just take everything else away, and it's just a cool looking robot that I really, really dig, super posable, and goes with the other, 6 action figures that I thought was a completed line, and I wasn't going to get anything else from it. And that was kind of sad, I wanted more figures in that line. So I was really excited to get this, and it was for me, very highly anticipated figure. So there was no way it wasn't going to make my personal top 10. At number 3, we have Hasbro Fortnite Midas Rex, which this is a surprise for me. If it's a surprise for you, trust me, it's a surprise for me as well. One of the things I really like to do with my top 10 every year is again, to have it be a sort of cross-section of all the things that I collected that year, of all the lines I was interested in. And Fortnite is a very, very big part of my collection. Has been for the last, 2-3 years between Jazzwares and McFarlane and now Hasbro. And this is the first year that Hasbro's done anything with the line. So I was very excited to see what Hasbro was going to do with the line. What were the figures going to be like? What was the detail going to be like? I do not play the game. I don't care about the in-world mythology or who any of the characters are within the game. It does not matter to me. And honestly, at this point, what characters aren't in Fortnite? I saw a clip yesterday of somebody playing as Spider-Man, shooting an AK-47 or whatever, machine gunning people down. So it's like Snake Eyes has been in there, and the NFL has been in there. Like, everybody's been in Fortnite at this point. So what isn't a Fortnite design at this point? But this particular figure of the first wave really, really, really caught my eye from the preview pictures, from the solicits. The shiny gold, the skull helmet, the sword, the cape. Why does he have 2 revolvers, 2 6-shooters? I don't know. But I just ended up really liking everything about it. This is an interchangeable head as opposed to a helmet. And I really, more and more, as figure companies do that, I really do like that approach. As opposed to, helmet on and off that can be flimsy and lightweight and deformed when you get it. It can rub paint off the hair, off the ears, off the nose. It can rub that plastic down. So I like the alternate head approach that can still be held as though it is a helmet. But this figure in particular, they're all really nice figures of Wave 1 from Hasbro, or I don't even know how it breaks down Wave 1, Wave 2. Everything that Hasbro put out at this scale for Fortnite this year is really fantastic. So, and this wasn't even the only company I bought Fortnite figures from. I picked up figures from McFarlane and from Jazzwares, and it's just been a fun line going on, 3 years now that I can count on for lots of cool designs that don't come with a story that I can put the story into. And so this Midas Rex was my favorite of this year. Incredibly posable, felt really more like an import figure, to be honest. I wouldn't mind picking up a cloth cape. This back piece, the cape really hugs close to him. I wouldn't mind picking up a cloth cape for that. Give it a little bit more dynamism in posing and whatever. But I really dug this figure, and the more I just, saw it on the shelf, messed around with it, the more I really had to put it in my top 10, and especially this high, as a representation of just something that embodies what I absolutely love about action figures from top to bottom. At number 2, we are cheating again. We have Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Boba Fett and Hasbro Star Wars Vintage Collection Boba Fett. I couldn't decide between these two. And, honestly, when you see pictures of them, when you see them not next to each other, so you can't really see the scale, it's hard to tell which is the better figure. In many cases, the smaller 4-inch scale, the 1/18 figure, is the better figure. There are details about it that just look better, that function better. I don't know why this one came with a cloth cape and this one came with a plastic cape, which I have replaced with a wired. I bought a third-party wired cloth cape because I really didn't like the plastic cape. But there's almost nothing that 6-inch figure can do that 4-inch figure can't do, other than fit better with all of your other figures. If you know me, I'm into Boba Fett. There was no way I wasn't picking this figure up. Definitely had some, sleepless nights waiting for pre-orders, doing that, chasing those Target orders and whatever else. And I think that's ultimately how I got it. Was middle of the night, something popped up on Target. Somebody tweeted something out. I ordered it, picked it up the next day. And then I went through the helmet fixing stuff, because again, it is mostly hollow, and it's actually, I'm not going to get into all that. Needless to say, it needed to be fixed, and that was also a theme of 2021, having to fix your action figures. Even though the prices keep going up, you end up having to do more work to get them to look right. But Boba Fett, absolutely, both of these figures coming in at number 2. These are the Return of the Jedi versions. And the way that really is just from the color of the backpack, the arrangement of his pouches, and then probably some other color stuff too, but I can't tell. So, all right, on to number 1. Oop. I've talked about these figures and my choices being representative of the collection as a whole. There were other Star Wars figures I feel like could have made my top 10. There were definitely other Fortnite figures that could have made my top 10. There were other Mythic Legions that could have made my top 10. Definitely other Marvel Legends that could have made my top 10. And certainly other Transformers that could have made my top 10. So I want to be able to show all of that in my top 10, because, at the end I'll put together a whole sort of, class picture of the whole thing. And that I like looking back on those pictures and having a sense of what the whole year was, not specifically like, oh, these are absolutely the best 10 figures, and it's 6 G.I. Joe guys, and Boba Fett and 2 Transformers. It's like, I don't like that. This, to me, feels more genuine to what this year was and what I liked and what I was into. And it's also 10 of in this case, we're up to 14 here. Really, really great figures that I really, really loved. Anyway, this comes as a surprise to absolutely nobody. Number 1 for me is the Hasbro G.I. Joe classified Boba Fett. Come on. Commando Snake Eyes and Timber. Weird that Timber came with the Commando Snake Eyes instead of the Ninja Snake Eyes, but I am not complaining about that. This Timber is amazing. I don't know who at Hasbro decided that this was going to be the year of animals, but I would like to buy them lunch. I would like to say thank you to them. I don't know if it was all the teams coming up with the idea at the same time and saying, you know what, it's time. We're ready. Let's start doing animals and having animals in these lines. Between bears and birds and panthers and wolves, and we got crocodiles coming and all kinds of stuff. It's an incredible time to be an action figure collector with this kind of variety out there. Timber has literally never looked better. Interchangeable heads, articulation all over the place. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous action figure. Great size. And then, Commando Snake Eyes here. I really, really did love the ninja version of Snake Eyes, and I still do. But I think at heart, I'm in the, Commando stage of my love for that character. It kind of goes back and forth every 4 or 5 years. Commando Ninja. But for my purposes, this is absolutely perfect. They nailed it. Removable weapons in the holsters, double jointed everywhere. The ribbed sleeves on the sweater, perfect. The web gear limits his articulation a little bit, but whatever. I think it looks fantastic. The head is gorgeous. The Uzi, everything about it. You know, if I had to make any improvements to the line, I would say, give me, you know, alternate hands. And beyond that, I don't really know what else, you know, maybe just some other weird accessories that aren't, you know, weapons, just other kinds of props that bring the world to life. I don't know. But like a lot of other stuff, this Snake Eyes here, Timber, really represents all of the other just fantastic G.I. Joe stuff that came out this year. Breaker with the Ram, Zartan, Major Blood, all of these figures. Lady J, Flint almost made the top 10. I disqualified Flint because I modified his vest. I cut away part of the vest. And that was just a reason for me to get him out of the top 10. And just say, you know what, Snake Eyes represents all of G.I. Joe. That's the biggest deal with 2021 and my top 10 and everything that came out this year. So that's my top 10. Honestly, I don't know how much of a surprise any of that was. If you've been watching my Instagram, if you've been following our Twitch live streams and any of that stuff, you've seen how excited I've been about all of these figures this year. And ultimately, it was a very, very difficult choice because so many of them come in at like 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, you know, they're just so close together and it's so hard for me to separate why I like one figure over another figure. And I'm sure you struggle with a lot of that too, but that's it. This is it. I'm locking it in. I'm gonna put together my big class photo, post that out there and call that a wrap on 2021. We'll get ready for 2022. We already know that Bats and Alley Vipers are out there. I've seen Storm Shadow and Spirits out there, and I know Warduke's coming, and man, it's already going to be a crazy year in 2022. But this, for me, this is 2021 in a single shot. Thanks for watching. Later.